Hi everybody, welcome to this week of Digital Cricut Creation. My name is Andrea and I'm a Digital Services Librarian at Richmond Public Library. This week we are doing iron-on material, which is also called heat transfer vinyl. And this is what you're going to use if you want to customize a t-shirt or other fabrics. It's the same sort of thing you would use as infusible ink to customize clothes, but whereas infusible ink you can only use with polyester materials, the iron-on you can use with nylon, polyester, cotton. It's a lot more open. It's just not as permanent as the infusible ink if you use it with clothes. And there are some different care instructions as well. So just to get us started, what I'm going to be using this week, I know last time I was on we had some technical difficulties, so the stream didn't work as well. So I'm going to be checking my phone periodically just to make sure that this stream is working and not super laggy. And that video is also going to be re-recorded and put onto our YouTube channel. That is also RPLBC, so keep a lookout for that. I'm going to try and work on that tonight. So our materials for today, I have our Cricut Sports Flex iron-on material. So this just is a little bit more stretchy than regular iron-on, and because I'm using a stretchy shirt, I want to make sure that my iron-on doesn't rip when it stretches. That shouldn't be a problem because the shirt's pretty big, but just want to make sure. And then I also have our Glitter Smart iron-on. So this is for sale at Richmond Public Library. We currently have gold glitter, silver glitter, and blue holographic iron-on materials, and those are all smart. So the good thing with that is you do not need to use a mat with it. You can just put this directly into the machine and it'll cut it, which is pretty awesome. For my Sports Flex, unfortunately Cricut doesn't make this as a smart material yet, so I just have a regular one. So I also have my standard grip mat, which is the green one. And I also have my weeding tool. There are some small details that I want to make sure that I'm keeping in. And my scissors, just so I can make sure that when I get the backing on this, everything looks good. And all right, I'm just going to check my phone, make sure this is working correctly. Let's see. And hopefully you can all hear me. Ooh. Yeah, everything looks good there. Yeah, so just if you're just joining us, I'm going to be checking my phone periodically. Last time, let's turn this down a little bit. That got very high. Last time, our stream was super laggy. I think it's just, we have just office computers that I'm streaming from right now. So they can't handle a lot of things. So if you notice that the stream is getting very laggy, you can just put a comment into our chat, and I will try to fix it. All right, so what else do I have with me today? So I have a lint roller. So this is really important when you're using iron-on materials, just so you can get any sort of fibers that might be on the shirt that may make it harder for your iron-on to stick to it. So you do this before you are attaching your iron-on. I also have a piece of butcher paper. I got this with a package of infusible ink. So if you are buying infusible ink, you do usually get however number of sheets you get that many pieces of butcher paper. To me, this kind of looks like parchment paper. I think you can use that as a replacement, but Cricut does recommend butcher paper. This isn't the kind of butcher paper I've ever seen, but apparently you can get it at the grocery store. And then I have my shirt that we'll be customizing. This is there's a string coming out. This is a airy boyfriend raglan shirt. It is 100% cotton, I believe. The color is liquid crystal if you want to get your own. It's a pretty nice material. It's really soft. And it's oversized fit, so if you're more comfortable with that, that's better for like tying or tucking if you're into that kind of styling. What else do I have with me? So I have my mats. At the library, we have the Cricut Maker 3, so that can use up to 300 different kinds of material. We don't have the knives for all those materials, but as long as you're not doing something like basswood or something thick and heavy, we should be able to cut that for you with the fine point blade. We also do have a rotary blade if you're bringing in fabrics or more delicate materials. So what we're going to be using today for the iron-on is this easy press mat, and this just protects whatever surface you're using from the heat of the iron, just because I think we'll be going up to 330 degrees today, which of course will melt a lot of surfaces. And then I also have the easy press too. So this is something that we will be launching to the public in the next couple months. So I'm just going to show you how to use it today, and then once we launch it, you can always come back to this video to remind yourself how to use it. I'll kind of talk through how you can use a regular iron, but obviously if you can get one of these, it does work a little bit better because you can distribute heat across the entire design evenly. So that's really nice. We are currently working on some tutorials to teach you how to use it, and once those are done and we've tested them, then we will be announcing on our social media when you can come in and use that. And then the other thing I'm going to be doing today is I'm also going to be showing you how to find SVGs online. So that is the cut file that we're going to be using. I've downloaded one already just because we did have those issues last time I was streaming, and I don't want to strain the internet too much. So I'll just show you kind of where I found these SVGs and give you kind of an idea how you can find your own and how downloading works. And then I'll show you how to upload the file into Design Space and how you can edit it from there. So hopefully that doesn't strain the internet too much. And yeah, let's get started with looking at some websites that I've found SVGs from that I really like. But this is just my personal style. You might have a different style. I'm pretty sure if you search the internet, you will find exactly what you're looking for. If you don't, you can always design your own. Um, and my colleague Deeth will be running a program on designing your own SVGs in Cuddle once this program is done. So if that's something you're interested, keep in mind for that. You can also design things in Procreate or other drawing and design softwares. I've made things in Procreate and then cut them on the machine. They turn out really nice. And we can definitely look at doing programs to show you how to do that in the future. So for now, I think that's everything that we need to talk about for tools. So let's get into finding designs online. All right. So I'm just going to put our tutorial in the chat. All you need is a Richmond Library card to come in and use it. It is free to use. The only thing we will charge you for is if you're buying material with us. You can always buy your own material. We might just have to approve it when you bring it in. The tutorial will also show you the different tools you'll need. So if you wanted to do what I am doing today, the packages you would need are the fine point blade. You can check that out. The basic toolkit and the mats kit, and that's all you'll need. You can check those out when you come in, and after you've done the tutorial, we'll add that to your account. So you can come in anytime to the Brighouse and Ironwood branches to use the Cricuts here. So I'm just on Kaluuya Design. I went a little crazy yesterday and got a lot of their designs. If you like anything that I'm going to show you on here, feel free to download, but try to leave them a tip. Just remember that all the art you're going to find online, someone did make and put a lot of work into, so this will keep them going if you want to make a donation. But that being said, it is optional if you're using free SVGs, and a lot of websites do have options for that. If you want to pay, um, it depends on the design that you're using, how much it'll cost. So they do have a section for $1 SVGs on this site. And then they also have SVG bundles. I think those are a little bit more expensive. And then just keep in mind that if you are buying something for free, it's probably just for personal use. And you'll probably have to pay a little bit more if you want to do this commercially. So I know with this site, they have some different prices. So let's look at the awareness COVIDs. All right. So you can see there's two different or three different price levels. So personal is going to be free. Commercial is going to be $3. I think commercial, they have it so it's $25. And then POD, I think, is print on demand, and that's $25. So if you are doing these commercially, make sure that you're paying. It is, you know, they can come after you if you're producing these commercially and you're not paying for their licenses. So just keep that in mind. So the design I'm doing today is this Here Comes the Sun. So I purchased these. It's giving me a zip file that I can download. And this is just something I found. I Googled free SVG files. And you can see there's a lot of different options. A lot of websites, even if they charge for SVGs, will have a free option as well. And you can see there's a lot of options here. Just one more thing to keep in mind with these. So, I mean, I love a good vintage truck and a pumpkin. Just keep in mind if you were going to do this with the heat transfer vinyl or iron-on, you need to get all of these colors, and you'll have to cut them out separately and lay them onto each other. Sorry, I just got an email there. You'll have to lay them on top of each other. You'll have to do each layer individually. You might be able to peel things off and sort of arrange them on the same carrier sheet. If you're doing different layers that you're not going to put on the same cover sheet, I'll show you how to do this. You do need to put a layer of butcher paper between the layer you just did and the next heat layer, and this just prevents the iron-on from melting or burning. So that's really important to keep in mind. If you would like to pay for SVGs, you are totally welcome to do that too. If you're not comfortable going to just a random website and just downloading things, which I totally get, you never know when you could get a virus from something. Etsy does sell SVG files. I've never purchased from them, but usually what happens is you'll just buy it. That got a little bit weird. Yeah, so I've never looked up SVGs on there before. That was a little bit strange. All right. So sorry, getting a lot of emails today. So yeah, once you found the SVG you're looking for, these were free, but you do have to act like you're purchasing them. So you'll go through the whole purchase process. They just won't ask you for payment. And then you will get a link from your email, and that'll take you to this page that shows you everything. You'll then download whatever you want to use. I got a kitchen label bundle too that look very nice. Again, this is Cricut Design if you want to take a look at them. In our certification, I don't think we put this one in, but we do have some links for free SVGs and project libraries. So you can take a look at those as well. These are ones I found recommended. I've used a couple of them as well. Jennifer Maker is a really great resource for if you just want to learn how to use the Cricut, her videos are super helpful, and she has an amazing resource library. If you want something super cool, she has a 3D paper cat that I have made and I love it. But there's a lot of options. You don't have to use the ones that we were recommending. These are just ones that have good content, but you're free to Google. So after you've downloaded, you'll get that zip file. To access anything in it, you're gonna move everything in the zip file out. So I have another file I just have like a folder for Cricut files. And you'll have one for Mac and you'll have one for PC. At this point, Cricut doesn't have an app for Linux. We're currently trying to use it with a Windows emulator on our Linux computer, but it does run a little bit clunkier than the apps that it's designed to, or the operating systems it's designed to work on. So, you know, there are options if you do have a Linux computer. And just before we move again, I'm just gonna make sure we are okay. All right, yeah, still looks like we're good. All right. The last time it was when we started using Cricut that we ran into issues, so hopefully this will go okay. Again, if you see any lagging before I do, just put a message in the chat and I will do my best to fix it. So I just have our canvas open. If you haven't used Cricut Design Space before, we do have a paid account at the library. So if you see something with this A and you have your own free account, you don't need to worry about buying your own account. You can just come in and use ours, and you'll get access to Cricut Access, and they have some really cool stuff in there. Right, so I'm just going to click New Projects, and I'm going to go to this Upload button. So you can see we have some stuff that we've uploaded in the past. Also, if you're interested or if you have kids, my colleague Steven is going to be running a pixel art sticker program. So we'll be designing these pixel art designs in an online drawing software. And then you will be able to actually print these and get a sticker of it. So that's super cool. So I'm just going to upload my file. And I'm going to see, I had some issues when I was trying to do this yesterday, so I'm just trying to remember what file type I used. Oh, nope. All right. So that looks good. We have the Here Comes the Sun. And then I'm going to click Upload. So I have it here. Depending on the file, I'm just going to show you an example because I did run into some issues using the PNG file yesterday. Not sure why. If you're using, uploading something that's just one layer, so this is two, but it's very simple, and there's only two colors, you're just going to use Simple. Yeah, so this is what happened yesterday. It doesn't like that PNG file for some reason, but we do still have the other one. So depending on how many layers you're uploading, you'll choose the simple, moderate, or highly detailed options. So for the highly detailed, those tend to be things that you're going to flatten once you get in. We're currently not offering a print then cut service. We are looking at options. We just don't have an inkjet printer, which tends to be what you need to do for that. So I have my Here Comes the Sun uploaded, and I'm going to add that to my canvas. So something to keep in mind with when you are downloading from the internet. a lot of times they come unattached. So these are grouped currently, which is great for just editing. But if I were to take this into Make It, I'm doing on matte, you can see I just get a random assortment based on the size. So I do need to attach these. I did kind of, when I did the cat, I did not realize that that happened. So I just ended up with my lines, numbers, and score lines in completely different places than they were supposed to be because I did not attach them before I cut. So, you know, just keep that in mind. So what I'm going to do is I ungrouped all of them just so I can do these separately. So I want all of the Here Comes the Sun to be one, and then, or the sun, and then the Here Comes the Sun to be a separate because we're doing two different colors. So I'm going to select the whole drop down. So you would just click the top. They're all in a group. So I'm just going to attach that. And now I'm going to attach all the letters. And you'll notice as you edit things, the last thing you edited will go to the top. So I'm just going to make sure, yeah, perfect. All right. So that is all good. What I'm going to do now is send this to cut. I'm just going to check once again, make sure we're working okay. And if you have any questions as we go along, feel free to put that in the chat. I'll do my best to answer them. We're still going good. All right. Oh, I was going to turn this because I have the white. So something that's really nice with the Cricut is it does recognize different colors. So these will automatically be put on separate sheets, which is very helpful. And I'm just going to check my size on here. So it's almost 7 inches. I think that's a good size. Yeah, let's do that. A little bit smaller. Oh, no, you know what? That's fine. So we're going to go to Make It, and you have some options here. If you're sending it for the Cricut Maker 3, I'll just show you where you change that. So under this up here, you have some different options. So just make sure you're under Cricut Maker 3 if you're going to be using our Cricuts. If you're using like a Joy or an Explorer, make sure you're using that. There's just different options for each of them. And I'm doing multiple ways, so I'm going to be selecting each time I choose a material. So my first one's going to be on the mat, and my second one is going to be without the mat. And another thing to keep in mind with the iron-on is that this does need to be mirrored. So we are pretty much putting this in upside down. So we're going to mirror all of this. If you're doing something with vinyl or cardstock, you don't need to do this, but just with this you do. So, and this one's going to be without mat. All right. And this is just the one we have in the back. Hopefully this connects. All right. So I'm just going to go into Browse All Materials. And as you can see, there's a lot of different materials that you can use with the Cricut Maker 3. So I'm just going to look up iron-on. Again, you can see there's a lot of different kinds of iron-on. Ooh, printable. That would be cool. So I'm using Sports Flex for this one. Pressure is default. Alright, so we don't have anything in clamp A. This would be like if you were using a scoring stylus or a pen, this would go in clamp A. And then our blades go in clamp B. And the way I've heard Cricut describe this is that accessories go in clamp A and blades go in clamp B. So that's just like a helpful way to think about it. So I think we're doing white first. So I'm just removing the cover plastic on my standard grip sheets. If you're ever in and you notice that the mats are not sticky enough to hold what you're doing, you can just let us know. They probably just need to be cleaned or replaced. All right. And just need about 7 inches. And the other thing I'm going to check is that the shiny side is down. So you can see there's a warning up here. Make sure your mirror is turned on and your shiny side is down. The other way you can check that is just peeling a corner and seeing which side is translucent. And that's the side you want to have down, because that is our carrier sheet and we want to make sure that's intact. So I'm just lining up going to switch back over to webcam for this. I guess you can see it okay there. I'm just lining up the iron-on with the corners of my mat. Yep. And I might need to get some painter's tape because I don't think this is going to stick very well. I want this to be and another question I saw online when I was looking at forums is how do you tell once it's out of the, oh, that was probably really loud. How do you tell once your materials are out of the package if it's an iron-on or a vinyl? So the first way you can look at it is just peeling back that carrier sheet. With the vinyl, it will be sticky. With this, because it's a heat activated glue, it won't be. The other thing is, at least for Cricut, there's no back sheet to this with a grid on it, and every other company I've seen that makes vinyl will put like a grid on the back, so that's another way you can check that. Yeah, so I am just gonna get up quickly and get some painter's tape. material isn't 100% lined up with the edges of the ruler on the mat, that's totally okay. And that also means that there is a little bit of an area where we can put tape on to hold this down a little bit better. This is also a method if you were going to do like a thicker material and you want to make sure it's going to stick to your mat, you can use painter's tape on that as well. So there are clips that this goes under, so you want to just make sure that your tape doesn't have really big lumps in it, which unfortunately mine does because I was trying to realign it. Yeah, I haven't worked a lot with the iron-on, so just bear with me while I figure this out. Alright, that should work better. And this is the little corner of the office that I'm in right now. So we just have this load button. When you're loading, you want to just make sure that your mat is under these clips. You might just need to adjust your tape so everything fits under the clips. That'll work now. Alright, so we just have this little load button here. My mat is under the clips on either side, so I'm just going to hit this. And it's going to measure the material to make sure that I have enough. Make sure that's back down here. Alright, so now that it's measured all this, I'm just going to need to hit play. And this is going to cut. Again, if you have any questions about what I'm doing, feel free to put that in the chat. Or if you have any questions about digital services, I'm happy to answer those as well. After we're done cutting, I'm just gonna have to reset my space a little bit so there's space for the iron to heat up and for the Easy Press mat to go. And so this is like not super detailed. It is a really nice design, but it's not detailed, so this is going to be cut super fast. If you're doing things with a little bit more detail, it might take longer for the cut to finish. All right, so I'm just going to hit the unload button. It's going to spit out this. All right, hopefully that cut all right. I can see the tape on the E is a little bit overlapping with the E, so hopefully that cut okay. Ooh, that's not good. All right, I think we can fix that. All right, should be okay. So for the next piece, we are using the glitter iron-on, the Smart material. So we're just gonna go back here, and this is without a mat. I'm using the glitter. And the nice thing is, if you say you're using it without a mat, it will only bring up the Smart materials, which is really helpful. You don't have to browse through too much. So again, make sure your iron's on, or your mirror's on, and the shiny side is face down. Switch this back over. All right, so have this under the clips, and I'm just gonna hit load. All right. So that's all done. Just give me 1 second. I'm just gonna sort of move some stuff around so I have space to work on this. So while we're weeding our iron on, I'm just gonna heat up our Easy Press. All right. So the first thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Cricut's heat guide. And so this comes with a heat protector that goes underneath it, just because it does get very hot. So you just have to be careful with that. All right, so we're gonna go. So we are using the Easy Press 2. And we are Sports Flex Iron On. And I'm also just going to check to make sure that the Sports Flex and the Smart Material have the same heat. Oh, this is just cotton. 100% cotton. Why is this different? Okay. Alright, so it looks like the glitter iron-on has a higher heat. I might just do both at the same temperature and use the butcher paper in between so we don't get any melting. Alright, so it looks like the Sports Flex should actually just be at a lower heat. So I want this to be so this is what our Easy Press looks like. So this is the power button. This is how we're going to start it, and then we can adjust the heat and time. So I need to adjust this to 305. And while we're preheating it, we need this to be for 5 seconds. Oop. All right. Time. So the really nice thing with the heat guide is it'll show you the supplies you need, the prep that you need to do ahead of time, how to apply it, and then your care. So let's just quickly talk about that, just because it would really suck to do all this work, and it'll beep once it's all heated up. It would really suck to do all of this work and then have your design come off. So the shirt I am using is washed without the use of dryer sheets or fabric softener. You just don't want any kind of residue on your shirt. You want to make sure you're allowing 24 hours between application and washing. This just lets the glue cure. And then when you wash, you want to do that inside out. I think I've also seen wash in cold water and tumble dry on low, and don't bleach. So just all things to keep in mind so that your design looks good. Again, with the iron-on as compared to Infusible Ink, it can come off and tear and rip and that kind of stuff, whereas Infusible Ink won't do that. So I've seen that the iron-on should last 30 washes, if not more than that. Of course, it can always last longer than the fabric itself, but if you're caring for it well, it should last a pretty long time. So that's all heated up. I might actually just turn that off while we're reading, just so I don't burn myself. So and this might go a little bit past 7, so apologies for that. if you need to be somewhere. Remember, this will be on Twitch for 2 weeks, and I'm hoping to get it up on YouTube in the next couple days. And there are a couple spots where I didn't get the painter's tape close enough to the edge, so I might just have to go over that with the scissors to make sure it cut all the way through the iron-on material. Before I do that, I might actually just check that our stream still looks okay. Yeah, so unfortunately I am in the office by myself today. We would normally have someone to help me do this. Alright, still looks good. And you want to make sure with this that you're putting the carrier sheet or the protective plastic back on right after you're done. So I'm just going to be taking off all of the negative material. So that's material that's around my design that I don't want. Iron can be fun to peel sometimes. And with any luck, our carrier sheet will be intact, and that'll hold all of our designs in place. So if you're using 2 of the same iron-ons, you could actually attach your other design to this. Like, it's just a sticky sheet that attaches to the iron-on, the stuff that's actually going to go on the shirt. Because this does require 2 different heat settings, I'm not going to do that. So my E might not look as nice as what I was hoping, but it should still work. Yeah, so just from the other time I used the iron-on, I can tell this is a lot stretchier. So same thing that happened with my E happened with my S. So just something to keep in mind. Mistakes are how you learn to do better next time. So because that happened, I will probably be using heat-resistant tape just to make sure those parts of my design stay on. So for the smaller details, I'm going to be using my weeding tool. So it just has this point that makes it really easy to get an edge. Right. So that's what it looks like the way we're around. Alright, and now I'm going to move on to my sun. So as opposed to my letters, my sun had little details that I want to make sure stay on the carrier. So what I can do is, if I notice that some are coming off, I can actually hold them down with the weeding tool instead of pulling them up. But if you also notice that, yeah, we had a couple there not come up. If you notice after you've weeded it, you can always come back to it and reattach it. That's the good part of the sticky carrier sheet. I think our fine point blade is a little bit dull because I've been noticing the last couple things I cut out. Some of the details don't cut as well as I would normally like to see. So again, if you notice that while you're in, you can just let us know. We can sharpen the blade. If you're just here because you want to learn more about the Cricut and you have your own, you can just get a piece of aluminum foil, curl that up into a ball, and just poke it with the blade, and that'll sharpen it again. Miss some stuff again. The other thing you can do, if you notice that it's consistently not cutting the way you'd like, ooh, lost that, I don't know where that went, is you can just cut over the design twice. Alright, so there's our sun. You can see it's super sparkly. I'm not quite sure where that one dot went, but that's okay. So I'm just going to clear all my space. phone, that was loud. And I'm going to put down, oh, is that my dot? No. Okay, so I'm going to put down my Easy Press mat, and I'm going to push this back a little bit more, just so I don't melt anything while I'm doing this. Got a little bit of a tangle of wires behind my computer. All right. So, I have my shirt. You can see it's a little bit wrinkled. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm just going to press that out. And so I think what I'm going to do, I might just put this design over the heart because it's not quite big enough to go right in the center. It might actually look okay. All right, so I have my, turn this back on. I have my lint roller. I'm gonna get a new sheet. And I don't know about anyone else with cats, but I can see a lot of my cat's hair on here just from being in the wash with my other clothes. So I'm just going to make sure that all that comes off so nothing is getting in the way of my HTV sticking as good as I need it to. So, you can see all the stuff that came off of there. Even if you can't see it, I'd still be there. So, aligning your design. So for t-shirts, let's get that off. For t-shirts, Cricut recommends, if you want to go down the center, that you use the 3-finger rule. So what that's going to be is you'll just take 3 fingers and put them over the underneath where the neck is. This is a pretty high necked shirt, so I don't know if I'd do that on this one. You can also do that. Again, this is like a pretty big shirt, but if you had something that was closer fitting, you can do this with the armhole as well. Just make sure it's 3 fingers over. And I'm just going to put this right on here. So the nice thing with the carrier sheet is it is sticky. So I can just stick that right there. So I'm now going to prep my shirt. Some other tips for aligning your shirt just right. You can actually fold this in half down the center and then fold it in half lengthwise as well, and that'll give you the absolute center of the shirt. Just because this is a little bit oversized, I'm not going to be doing that with this one. Alright, so I'm going to take this. Whoops! Last week I used my phone as a camera, but I forgot my wire at home today, so can't do that. So I'm just going to put this onto my shirt, hold down with medium pressure, and hit the little C at the top here. So that's going to count down for me. So that is prepping my shirt. Not only does it get out all the wrinkles that might be on it, it also removes any sort of moisture that might be on your shirt. And you might think that your shirt is completely dry, but there can be a little bit of moisture in it. Just from the environment. So this is a good way to do this. So if you were to use an iron at home instead of the Easy Press, you would, let me just check the heat guide to make sure how long I'm putting this on. All right, so we're doing this for 30 seconds. So we're doing 30 seconds on the front and 15 seconds on the back. So if you were to use your regular iron at home, you would make sure that it's on the temperature setting that's right, and you were using a no mist setting. So you can turn that off on your iron at home. It's just the moisture can impede the glue. And so for this, I think you could fit this under a regular iron. But if you had a larger design, you would just go over the design one section at a time until you got the whole thing. All right. So there's also different kinds of peel options that you can use. So what that means is you're going to wait for a specific temperature for the design to reach. So that'll be the shirt design. You can do a hot, warm, or cool. Cool is going to be room temperature. You should be able to find online which to use for the specific material you're using. So because I'm doing this on cotton, and it is the Sports Flex. Oh, that's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. And it's a Sports Flex. I saw that I should do this on a cool peel, so I need to wait for this to cool down to being room temperature. And then I can do the sun. The sun needed to be at 330 degrees. So it's going to heat up and it's going to beep when it's ready. And if you start peeling up and you notice that the design is peeling a little bit, you can just do the same process over again. So a hot peel will be just as soon as you've taken the iron off. You're going to want to take the carrier sheet off. For a warm, you're going to wait for it to cool down a little bit. And again, depending on the material you're using, it'll have different requirements for that. So I'm using Cricut brands. There are a couple other brands of HTV that I've seen highly recommended. Sizer is available at Michaels. You can check their website. They have some pretty cool patterned iron-on materials. So I've seen them recommended on most things. If you're looking for other brands that might be a little bit less expensive. And there are like house brands at craft stores as well. So you can just see what's available in your area. So I might just hold this down for a couple seconds. And you're holding down with medium pressure. I think next week James is going to be showing you Infusible Ink. So the difference is with Infusible Ink, you can put that onto a lot of different things. So the iron-on you can put on fabrics, leather, that kind of thing. You can also attach it to wood if that's something that you are interested in. With the Infusible Ink, there are sublimation blanks that you can use to infuse into the surface. So I have some coasters that I used Infusible Ink on. So those kind of thing, you don't need to put any pressure on them, but with the fabrics you do. do this slowly at a 45-degree angle, just to make sure that everything is stuck on. That looks good. All right. Now I'm going to attach this. My son. And for this one, I'm going to put my butcher paper over it, just to protect the other vinyl I was using. All right, so let me just double check. So it's going to be for 30 seconds, and then we're going to flip over and do 15. All right. Again, medium pressure to hold down. Just going to leave that on there just so I know it's not going to stick to my mat, because that would be bad. All right, and we're going to turn this down to 15. Here we go, almost done. Turn that off so it can cool down. I'm actually super happy with the way the colors are working on the shirt. It is a little bit crooked, but you know, if you're tucking or tying your shirt, it might not be as noticeable, so that is always good. It looks super retro, which I'm super happy with. All right. All right, and voila, that is all done. See that there? Here comes the sun with our little golden sun. And again, so if you wanted to make one of these for yourself, Richmond Public Library sells the gold and silver glitter iron-ons and the blue holographic. I have an example of what that would kind of look like. So it just kind of looks like that. If you'd like your own colors, you are very welcome to purchase your own and bring them in to be cut. We might just check that it will work with our machine, but if it's Cricut, it'll probably be fine. Cricut or Sizer. The EasyPress 2 is not available to the public yet. We are currently working on tutorials so you know how to use it. Once those are done, we will announce on our social media when they will be available for you to come in and use, so keep your eye out for that. Other than that, James will be back next week. He will be showing you how to use Infusible Ink. And I'll be back the week after that to show you, I think I'm using the rotary blade to do fabric. And we also do have the Cricut mug press, which we're super excited about. So if that's something you're interested in, making your own custom mugs, be sure to tune in 2 weeks. Or 3 weeks, that'll be 3 weeks. All right, so that's it for the stream today. We do have a lot more programs coming up, so keep checking back on our Twitch, and have a good night.